Now that you know how the process works, let's take a quick tour of Illiad. When you open up Illiad, you'll notice that there's two different sets of tabs. Up here at the very top is our Processes ribbon. Broadly speaking, it contains things you can do, searching for items, checking in items, printing shipping labels, and so forth. Below that is our Requests ribbon. Broadly speaking, it contains queues of things that need to be done. The important thing to bear in mind about these ribbons is that they operate independently. So if I select the Lending tab in the Processes ribbon, it's not going to change which tabs we're looking at in the Requests ribbon. So if you're looking for something under Lending but you can't find it, make sure that you're checking under the correct Lending tab. When someone places a request in Illiad, it shows up in a form like this. This form gives us quite a lot of information, but let's look at a few of the highlights. Here is citation information on the item. Here in the upper left-hand corner is the transaction number. This number is unique within our library, meaning that if you search for transaction number 182108 in Illiad here, you're going to get this specific requests. However, it's not unique across all libraries, so if I contact Penn State University, who lent me this book, and ask about this request, the transaction number will not help them identify it. Instead, I would use the ILL number, up here at the top right corner, which should be unique across all libraries. Depending on what you're doing, you may need to use the transaction number or the ILL number. It's important that you use the right one and ask if you forget. At the center of the page, you'll notice that Loan is checked. Loan requests are requests for physical items such as books, CDs, and DVDs. These requests get sent by mail between libraries and are checked out to customers for a certain amount of time. Article requests are scanned and sent electronically. Finally, let's take a quick look at the Processes ribbon. Again, this is the ribbon at the top of the page. Under the Home tab, you can search for items. The best way to search is by number. Again, transaction and ILL numbers are unique, so as long as you type it in correctly, you'll get the correct request. Note that to the right of the input box it says TN for transaction number. If I want to search by ILL number, I have to switch it to say ILL. If you don't have the number, you can also search by user or citation information, but you may need to be a little more experimental with search terms here and be careful that you're looking at the right request. Now to the Borrowing tab at the top of the page. Remember again that borrowing is from the point of view of the High Library, so these are items that we are borrowing from other libraries. Now you might notice that there are 3 buttons in this banner that are pretty easy to get confused. Here's the difference. Check in from Lending Library. This is what we use when ILL books from other libraries get to us through the mail. Checking books in here lets the Lending Library know that we've received the book, and it lets the patron know to come pick it up. Check out. When the patron comes to pick up the item, we check it out. Check in. When the patron is done with the book, they return it to the library and we check it back in. If you get mixed up, you can think of it in chronological order, from left to right. First we get the book, then the patron picks up the book, and finally the patron returns the book to us. Then we print the return slips and send the items back to the libraries that own them. Again, this can get a little confusing. Make sure that you're clicking the right button, and if you're not sure, please ask. And finally, the Lending tab. Again, this tab is for things that we are lending to other libraries. Again, we can look at this tab in chronological order. When libraries request items from us, we must first print the requests so that we can find them in our stacks. Then, once we've looked around, we update the stack search results to say what we found and what we haven't. Then we print shipping labels for the items and send them on their way. When the loans come back to us, we use the Lending Returns button to check them back in.